Today I'm going to talk about 3 actionable steps in order for you to be more confident in yourself. And these steps have come from my own journey because I struggled with confidence, feeling secure within myself, believing in myself, knowing my worth. I struggled with so many of these things for a very long time. And so let's get right into it. So my first step for you would be to get brutally honest with what you're not confident about. Is it the way that you look? Is it the way that you speak? Is it your intelligence? I can't speak today. And so getting clarity on what that is going to be really important. Let's just say, for example, one of the things I was very insecure and lacked confidence in is how I looked when I was younger. And again, this has to do a lot with our narcissistic selves when we're younger and our egoic selves. We think about how we look constantly and are we likable and are we beautiful, especially as women. I don't want to get into that topic, but you know what I mean. Growing up, I had a nice, beautiful nose with a little bit of a bump. And to be honest, for the longest time, I tried to just deal with it. I was like, this is my nose. God is giving me this nose. And I actually loved it because it brought some sort of character to my face. And so I didn't mind it, to be quite honest. But then I remember I think it was middle school, where I was bullied. It was funny because a teacher kind of chimed in as well with the kids. And they actually, it's traumatic when you can remember the scene as if you were I was in there yesterday. That's how clear that scene is to me. And that's how I know that it really did hurt. It hurt me. But I obviously took it like a champ. And so I remember being in that class and my teacher, Mr. Kerr, I still remember his name, and I do not remember any of my teachers' names. So I remember him. And we were playing this game and everybody got asked this question: who has the biggest nose in the classroom? And literally nobody hesitated and they were like, Naz. Naz has the biggest nose. And I remember, I think the reason why it really broke me so much is because there was this guy that I had a really big crush on, and he was so cute. And the fact that he kind of joined in with everybody and the teacher, and they kind of brought me in front of the class and everybody was laughing. And it was one of those things like you just don't forget, kind of. And so after that, it kept on happening to me. Somebody would make a comment about the way that I look and my nose. And I still kind of let it go until this moment when I actually moved to India. This was when I was about 20. I think I was like 19 or 20. I was really young and I was really this was my rebellious stage to the max. I just did not give a shit. And so I told my dad, I'm like, I want to go in the Bollywood industry. I want to dance. I want to do something. And I've been grown up doing it for so many years. And I just wanted to do something something different that not everybody's doing. I just don't want to go to university because the whole world is. And so I told my dad, this is another long story, but basically I was getting my portfolio done, and this really renowned director, he looked at my portfolio pictures and he was like, oh, this is nice, but your nose, you kind of look like a parrot. And he said something along those lines, and it just made me feel like, are you freaking kidding me? My nose again is coming in the way of my life and what I want to do. And so that is when I put my foot down and I'm like, Dad, you're getting me a nose job. You got me this nose and you're going to fix this. So anywho's, I ended up getting the nose job. And to be honest, this is so not about the nose job, but since we're talking about it, let's talk about it for a sec. Honestly, and I hate even saying this, but I feel like plastic surgery is something that it really depends person to person, and I am nobody to judge. Now, if you're somebody that has had 8,000 surgeries and you're addicted, that's a whole different scenario. But if there's something that you've been bullied about or something that's just going to make you feel a little bit better, I still don't think there's anything wrong with it, but because I still think it's one of my best decisions I ever made is to get a nose job. And it really made me confident. I didn't care anymore about what somebody would say about my nose, because every time I took a picture, that's the first thing that would come up. What did they think about my nose? Is it too big? Is it, do I need to change my angle? And so to me, it brought me a lot of peace. And I'll get into it maybe another video if you guys want to, but that's kind of my quick my quick story of how a part of an external part of me really brought my confidence down. So back to the first point, which is, what is it that is causing you that lack of confidence? What is it? And I had many more, but that was just one of the things that really, brought my confidence down. If it's something to do with your intelligence or the way that you're communicating or something else, then these are things that we can work on, right? And not everybody is born with being a great communicator. A lot of people need to put work into it and practice in order to get better at it. So then we need to figure out, if this is something that you really want to build your confidence in, what is holding you back? What is stopping you? Is it procrastination? Is it self-sabotage? Because a lot of us, including myself, love to sabotage ourselves. And one of the reasons why we sabotage ourselves is because we have been conditioned in a certain way. It starts when you're in your mother's womb. So things that you can't even control or fathom are ruling and are dictating how you're behaving, what actions you're taking, and how you see yourself. And that is creating this pattern of you choosing, okay, I want to do this. I want to maybe get this type of woman, or I want this type of job. But then you're sabotaging yourselves. You're choosing women subconsciously or consciously who are not going to commit to you. Maybe they're emotionally unavailable. And so you're doing it to yourself, but what you're doing is you're blaming the women dating apps. And that's a whole other, conversation. The second step is realizing that there's nobody else on this planet like you. You're one in a bazillion. I don't know how many of us are on this planet now. But literally, God has created you with a specific look, with a specific set of talents and gifts, with a specific story that only you have and that only you can share. There's nobody that can be you. Nobody can beat you at being you. I got that from Joel Osteen, by the way. So you really have to come to a understanding that, and again, this might take some time, and that's okay. But once you just sit down with yourself and you look at yourself and you're like, wait, I am very unique and I am very different. So it's really just about recognizing the divinity in you and the uniqueness, and that nobody can take that away from you unless you give them the power to. Thirdly, I would like you to commit to yourself. A lot of us are out here wanting a man or woman to commit to us, but we can barely commit to ourselves because we are too busy trying to please other people, or we're trying to be somebody in order to appease them. It could be our parents or friends or a partner, whoever. So half the time, we're not even being our true authentic selves because we're too afraid. In order to commit to yourself, I would recommend for you to start one daily practice. Every single day, you're going to follow through. There's going to be no excuses. Now, in order to do this, I would recommend to start small, okay? If you want something that is going to last forever, right? You want longevity, then I would recommend to start something, for example, maybe you wake up at 7:30 a.m. And now, for the next 3 weeks, you're going to wake up at 7 a.m., right? And so you're going to do this without making an excuse. Oh, I couldn't do it because, I slept too late and I was just, I just had a rough day and I didn't eat last, blah, 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 blah. Like, when you're doing this, you're not committing to yourself. You're making excuses for yourself. And guess what happens then? You tend to attract people that are non-committal. They don't want to commit to you because they can sense your energy. They don't want to commit to somebody that can't even keep their own word. And after 3 weeks, you then are going to think of another habit that you're going to add in. Maybe go to the gym twice a week, and you're going to keep on kind of challenging yourself a little bit more and more. And what this does is it teaches your subconscious mind to trust yourself, that when I say I'm going to do something, I fucking do it. I don't make excuses and I don't flake on myself. So this is the starting point. A lot of people think that people just wake up and they're confident. And it's like, no, it doesn't happen. And if it does, then they might be lying to themselves, or they might just have very, amazing parents that really worked on their confidence. But not a lot of us are in that boat. So we have to work on it ourselves and teach ourselves by doing these exercises. And my last step for you is to do hard things. A lot of us think that we need to be confident and we need to know what the hell we're doing exactly. And then we take the difficult steps, and then we build a business, and then we go and approach a woman. But that's never going to happen if that's going to be the way, because none of us are born confident. The way you do it is by making difficult decisions, maybe getting up on a dating show and putting yourself out there, which is really uncomfortable for most of us. And through that, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to be embarrassed sometimes. You're going to fall. You're going to fail. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your heart a little bit. But then you're going to get something called discernment and wisdom and knowledge. And that is what is going to build your confidence. But without that, you're just a blank canvas. Like you haven't taken the time to work on yourself and to give yourself that platform to make the mistakes. And I heard this father, he's like, this is what he says it to his kids, which is, what did you fail at today? And I think this was brilliant, because so many of us parents, including myself, we want this, no, that's not true. I don't do this. I'm taking myself out of there. But a lot of us parents, we want our kids to be successful and we want them to be the best at everything. But in order to be successful, you're going to fail. You're going to suck at some things. And if you're not failing, that means you're not trying. You're not even putting an effort into it. And if you're not putting an effort into it, you don't believe that you're going to succeed. So you've just given up on your life. And it sucks, because a lot of people do that. They've maybe tried a couple times, they've failed, and they've just given up, and they've got a 9-to-5 job and lived this mediocre life of just surviving. And I just feel like, as human beings, we need to free ourselves and do the things we really want to do. And your kids are still going to be there. They're still going to love you. And again, this is a whole other topic, but kids know when their parents are not happy. The more mistakes you make and the more you're able to come out of it bigger and better, you understand something about yourself. You're like, oh wait, I can get through some difficult times. I lost my job and I built a business, or I went through a tough time in my relationship and then we built ourselves up, or whatever that story is. You realize how resilient you are and how strong you are. And then another difficult challenge comes in your life, which it will. I sometimes don't want to accept it, but challenges are going to keep on coming. You're in soul school. You're not meant to be comfortable and just relax on a beach all day long. Otherwise, we all would be there. There's a reason why we have challenges and we break up and our businesses fail. It's because it's there to test us, to see who the hell are we at the root of it all, and to heal ourselves, our wounds, our patterns, and so on and so forth. I really hope that this video has been able to help you. As I mentioned before, I usually just ask God, I'm like, what do you want me to say today? And literally, this question popped in my head in 4 points. Boom, boom, boom. Like it was actually insane. I started writing it down like a parrot. I'm telling you, when you pray to God and when you're connected, things just start happening up there. It's a little bit wild. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you found any of this helpful, please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to keep on making more videos. I'm never going to give up. And I'll see you guys in my next one.